Hello everyone. Today we'll be going through one of the oldest model which was developed is known as waterfall model in the software industry. So basically it was one of the earliest and most structured approaches to software development, and it was introduced by Dr. Winston Rice in 1970, and it has a lot of phases. There are basically six phases, but I have just added one more phase here, which I'll explain later. So the first phase is requirement collection. So basically, we gather all the requirements and document it, what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, everything regarding like what needs to be built is documented first. Then is the feasibility study, which is not mentioned here, but I mean you can skip this part. It's just for understanding, where we do the feasibility study, like how feasible is the project to do, and with the requirements and all those things. Then we move forward to the design phase. So the system design phase is the phase where we do the planning of how the systems will integrate, how it will work together to create the whole system. Then is the next phase is called coding. Based on the design, we produce the code for the required things so that it should work according to the design. And once the design is done, then we go with the testing phase where we do the testing, like whatever the code has been done, whether this is working as expected or not. So the coding here is actually the implementation here. Is also mentioned like coding and building the system. Then again, once the testing is done, we install the softwares or deploy it. So it depends on the releases. So as we know, like there are a lot of releases, 1 2 3, but different versions of the app or the website. So based on that, we version the latest version, and that is meant by installation or deployment here. And then is the next phase, which is the maintenance. So once all those things are done, for the maintenance, again we need to do some activities, which is fixing any issues in the software or making any updates. So these are the basic things or the basic fall. Now the major characteristic of waterfall model is it will flow from top to down. So all the things will come from the top to down, and there will be no changes in between. So whatever is done, it should be done very precisely, and all the requirement at the requirement page, it should be done very crisp clear way. In the crystal clear way it should be defined here. Otherwise the flow will be disturbed here and it will not get the desired output. Now what are the merits of waterfall model? So as we can see, like it is very simple to feel and easy to understand, and very simple to follow. It has a well structured process which we have seen in the previous slide, and it defines a very good and stable requirement space, and everything is very crisp and clear from the start itself. And it majorly emphasizes on the documentation part. So once everything is there, we do document all the things whatever we have done in the requirement collection phase, so that everyone agrees to that and we know what we need to do. And basically it is effective to short term or small projects in today's world. But earlier when the software started, it was like the major model which was followed across the industry, and gradually we have evolved to other models which is agile and all, which will take over in some other lecture or video some other day. Now, what are the demerits of this? Now, the actual demerit of this is very inflexible to change. So, suppose once you start developing the software, or once we are suppose in the coding phase, and then the client comes and says like we need to do some changes, and also it will disrupt all the phases whatever are there in the waterfall model, and we have to do again from the beginning. So it disturbs all the phases, and it's not feasible. It is not ideal for complex or long run projects. So long term projects, or if the project is complex and at the beginning we don't have a clear picture, or we don't have the idea of the future, like how the project will look like, then it is very difficult to follow, because we cannot keep on changing the model each and every time, and it has to go through again from top to down. So the feedback will generally be late. So if you change in the coding phase, or in the maybe the testing phase, we came to know like okay, we need to accommodate some change. So in that, it is already late, and the whatever the feedback for the testing is already delayed, because we have to follow all the steps from top to down, and it will take a lot of time for that, and it is not feasible to waste that much time for complex projects. And again, it is a very high, it has very high risk and uncertainty. And it's because, like, initially when you start developing the software, you don't have much clear idea or the vision which is needed for the long term vision. If you don't have, then it's a very difficult to follow in that case. Now in today's world also, I mean, it is relevant, quite or feasible in civil engineering projects, just like if they are building some bridges or dams. So I mean, they do prepare the blueprint and all in advance, and it is followed from top to down. Even if you are creating your blueprint or the site plan of your home to be constructed, so that needs to be crystal clear. And once that is done, it is very hard to account the changes. So for those kind of projects, it can still, or the short term projects, it is still feasible. So that's it for the waterfall model.